E3 2018 is officially over! As of last week. Yeah, I'm slow at making videos, but despite the fact that I'm a few days late, I wanted to share my thoughts on E3 2018 and the actual convention experience. Because if you didn't know, I actually went to E3 for the first time this year. Hooray! Yes, it was out of my own pocket, but thanks to having a steady income, I'm not in crippling debt. For now. I plan on making a couple E3 related videos in the next month where I go in depth on a couple titles that stood out. Smash! Fire Emblem! But in this video, I want to cover everything I played and experienced, and give some of my thoughts about E3 as a gamer. Despite being a somewhat lackluster E3 in terms of major announcements, I was impressed with most of the games I played. So I want to talk about them, the good and the bad, so that you can understand these titles. And maybe you'll take away something about something, and then do the something and go to E3. What? Maybe you'll take away what I say about E3 into consideration when you're thinking about going yourself. So let's start with games at Nintendo's booth. Or actually, scratch that. Let's start with Nintendo's booth. Similar to the past two E3s, the focus of Nintendo's booth was definitely Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. At the same time, it wasn't like the past 2 years. In 2016 and 2017, we had immersive booths for Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. We kinda had that this year, but it was mostly just a stage looking like Battlefield platforms. It wasn't necessarily as immersive as the previous experiences. Sure, they had weapons and items from Smash characters in display cases. That Monado was beautiful! Hey lady, can I have that? Can I have the Monado? Can I just put that in the bag and take it home, please? Everything is free at E3, right? But I think they could have done a little more with the display. Like, think about having life-size statues of some characters fighting one-on-one. Pit against Link, or Mario against Mega Man, or Sonic. Maybe have all the Fire Emblem characters. I don't know. It really would have been cool if we had like Samus and Ridley just duking it out. Oh, that would have been so sick. Just a thought. It just could have been more than just a platform to play Smash, especially since that was basically their only game. Well, besides Pokemon Let's Go. As for the game itself, I mean, it's Smash. It plays beautifully. It's a slightly quicker Smash with small changes to almost every single character, as well as the core gameplay mechanic itself. The fact that everyone is here and basically built from the ground up for this game shows how much time and care Sakurai's team put into Ultimate. I'm excited to see the different ways the characters have changed through this game. For me, it really kind of felt like a glass cannon. Really powerful melee attacks, you know, kind of up close fighter, but can't take too many hits. I mean, he can take hits, but he gets blown back really quick. But that was my first character that I chose. And later on, I heard that the blowback in general in Smash, or the pushback, or whatever the proper term is, has been increased in the game. So that could be the reason, and not necessarily that Ridley is a glass cannon. But I will say he's very, very powerful. His piercing tail is just so satisfying. Just an all-around great heavy character. Now, Inkling takes some time to get used to. They work great, phenomenal. Especially the splat roller and the ink brush. They feel like they are just basically ripped from their game and put into Smash. You just have to get in the Inkling mindset, managing your ink and making sure to spray your opponent with ink. And sometimes that's kind of hard to get into a groove like that unless you have experience playing it, at least I imagine. But that said, I can see her being very, very competitive, because if you really get used to how her moveset works, you probably have a plan in place to really spread out her ink, making sure you always have ink in your tank. I could just see people wrecking with Inkling. I may even try to main Inkling. Watch out, kids. That was weird. Link and Ganondorf feel new and improved for the most part. Ganondorf in particular with his new smash attack is brilliant. Great improvement. That sword is just, love it. He's kind of become a mix between Ike and Captain Falcon, but only with his sword. Just having that range with the sword as it comes down is just superb. And that's really his only change, besides his design, which, you know, I like the new design. I'm always gonna miss the Twilight Princess design, but it's not a bad design. Link also looks great, and as much as I miss the Twilight Princess look, he does look awesome, I cannot deny that. The only thing I don't like about Link is his lack of a hook shot. That was key to my strategy with him. At least I thought it was. However, having 3 Links with a hook shot is a bit much, so I can see why they changed it. Other than that, his moves worked great. There's a lot I want to talk about Smash. For example, I'm seeing a lot of fans still calling Ultimate a port, but I'll open that can of worms in another video. Let's go ahead and move on to Let's Go.
Boy, that sounded redundant.
I was shocked. I legitimately enjoyed myself. Granted, part of it was I was grateful to get out of the line, but I really did have fun with it. The demo had you explore Viridian Forest and battle a couple of trainers, and it wasn't very long, which is understandable because they only had 5 monitors for both versions, so 10 in all, and the line was just hours long, so they had to pump people through. So I understand why the demo was a little shorter. But you basically got the basics down. It's not that hard to get. It's Pokemon Go, except you're in a Pokemon world. Dun, dun, dun. We all live in a Pokemon world. As soon as you enter Viridian Forest, automatically you notice all the Pokemon just moseying on about. They're there right front and center. You just go for it, man. And the first one that I saw was a Beedrill, but the guy's like, well, let's go after that Pidgey or Wormtail or whatever's over there. Wormtail. I play Pokemon. Let's go over that Caterpie over there. Oh, but I want the Beedrill. You can get that later, kid. Okay. So, you know, go to the Caterpie, capture the Caterpie, and then I was like, hey, I'm going after the Beedrill. Well, don't you want to battle the trainer? No, I'm going to get the Beedrill. So I get the Beedrill, I had to go feed him a berry and throw the Ultra Ball at him, and it takes me a couple shots because he moves around, but I get him. And all the while, I'm using the Pokemon Ball Plus controller, and I'm like thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this feels amazing. Maybe amazing is too much, but it felt really good in my hands. It felt like I was a Pokemon trainer, and I had a Pokeball. It was really great. I'm sure that feeling will die down eventually, but I think that's going to be a good driving force to get me through the game. Because, let's be honest, it's not the same Pokemon game we know. It's just not. There is a fun factor to it. I legitimately enjoyed myself. I will say that there were Metapods everywhere. Like, you couldn't even walk 5 steps without running into a freaking Metapod. They felt like they were blocking some of the paths. It's like, oh, watch out. Well, you can't watch out because we're everywhere. I wonder if they were trying to compensate for the random encounter, not having random encounters anymore. And it's like, oh, well, if we take out the random encounters, like, people could just breeze through the game. So we just got to make sure, like, every 2 steps they run into a Pokemon. We just got to make sure that happens. No. One of the joys of being able to see the Pokemon is, avoiding them. But that's just one minor gripe. It just could get annoying. It may not be for everybody. Definitely won't be for everybody. But I think it can be fun in its own right. Here's a funny thing. You had to get through Aces in order to play the other games at Nintendo's booth. That kind of ticked me off. I mean, I like Aces. I just want to move on to the games I haven't played. Aces comes out this Friday. On... What day is Friday? Friday is the 22nd. Okay? So, why are we demoing this when it's about to come out? We already had a demo for it. Why are you forcing people to play it in order to play the other games? It's kind of like we have a lack of content here at Nintendo's booth, so let's just force them to experience content. It's not terrible. But I did feel like having to wait to play like Starlink or Dragon Ball FighterZ or the other games they had over there was kind of pointless, and boring. But at the same time, Aces is a fun game. I will give them that. I did play as Chain Chomp, and that was great. He's just so cute. He's a good boy. I think this is one of many games we've been asking for since it was first revealed. And it's kind of surreal to see it on the Switch. I mean, it's like, wait, they listened to the fans? Why wouldn't they like reassure us? Like, yes, it's coming to the Switch, calm down. I understand like you don't want to make promises you can't keep, but you know how great that would have felt? It's odd because you think we'd be a little more surprised seeing it in the direct, but we were kind of like, yeah, whatever, that's old news. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a little weird. But it does look great. I didn't notice too much of a difference between the PlayStation 4 version and this. The guy who I played against was a lot more familiar with the game than I was, and it definitely showed. Well, you know, it was kind of neck and neck, kind of. I mean, I got him down to his last character, you know, we were both at the last character, but in the end, he clearly knew what he was doing compared to me. Activate smash button mashing powers. So this is an interesting one. I didn't realize it was a free roaming or a free world or open world kind of a game. So think Star Fox Zero, except no on-rail shooting. I mean, there was kind of none to begin with, but no on-rail shootings, and it's open world. So you get to choose which missions you go to, and you kind of fight an open area, you know. You can come and go as you please. You're not really stuck to an area except when because some missions will kick in and there'll be like fog or some sort of disturbance that you can't get past, and then you have to destroy like some sort of radar or antenna in order to stop the evilness, and that's fine because you chose to do that mission. So it works in that sense. There's a lot of intricacies in this one. You can get the hang of it. It felt very overwhelming at first when I saw the UI and the menu for the first time. It's like, what? I just want to fly a ship. I don't need all this customization. And I'm not talking about like this. I want to make my ship this color. No, it's like, what kind of? I don't know. I don't even know. It still kind of goes over my head. What kind of high-tech weapon do you want that when I explain it to you, it makes no sense? 742 Kevin X Extreme Gun. Well, what does it do? I don't know. Why don't you find out? At that time, I just went with the Star Fox ship. It's like, see, I understand that. I know that has blasters that I could charge, and okay, I'll just go with that. The real joy was actually playing the game and going where you wanted to go, and when you do the mission, it's a fun mission and it's challenging at the same time. So that I did enjoy. I don't think the Toys to Life hook is going to work well. You know how we were talking about the menus and how you can choose different parts and everything? That's where the Toys to Life is coming in. I played the digital version, so it was telling me all the parts I could use, but in the language that was meant for Toys to Life. So use this attachment to make the ultimate ship kind of a thing, and I just don't think kids or even people like me are gonna want to buy the Toys to Life unless it's Fox McCloud's ship. I mean, I'm just not gonna buy them. You have a solid game here. I really don't think they need the Toys to Life. One thing I did notice about the Switch version itself, the frame rate drops and there's extreme lag at some points. You could tell the Switch was struggling a bit. The guy at the booth said it was from being on for so long, 9 hours or however long. But all the other consoles are on that long, and some of the games are just as big, so I think it's just the Switch was struggling to run it in handheld mode, because I did play it in handheld mode. I forgot to mention that. But it's playable. So that's it for the Nintendo booth of the games I played. They had Fortnite and FIFA and some other smaller games, but none of them really interest me. Although I regret not playing Overcooked 2. That was a huge mistake on my part. In front of Nintendo's booth was a Switch exclusive that has gone mostly under the radar. Ninjala from Gung Ho Online. They showed it during Direct, but even I was like, okay, who cares? Like, what even is this? But then I got to play it. It's basically Splatoon and ARMS kind of a game, except with swords and bubblegum. While it's slightly obvious they're going for the Splatoon excitement, trying to grab that fan base, the gameplay itself is more akin to a battle royale. No, not Fortnite! Not only do you fight against other players, but you can take down drones and collect lanterns to add to your score. The game also rewards points to players who smash the most drones and collect lanterns. meaning just killing your opponents isn't necessarily enough to win. There's a lot of potential with this title, and I'm excited to see how it grows over time, because it doesn't come out till like 2019. I talked to some of the staffers and they said there should be a single player story mode, which would make this practically a must-buy for me. On top of that, they had a great booth setup, pitting 3 gamers against each other at a time in a game that really no one else had played. It kind of took away the advantage from some players who usually go to these booths and it's like, yeah, I've been playing this since I was, 10. I'm pretty good. Everyone was on the same playing ground. Everyone went home with a little prize, whether it be a pin or a little mask or something. But first place won a blow-up bubble sword, and they were everywhere in the convention. Everyone was walking around with their cool bubble sword. I mean, I could have got first place and got myself a cool sword and proved that I was the greatest ninja, but I got second place every time, losing to people who kept playing it over and over again, rubbing it in my face. And when I finally got first place, they ran out of swords and all I got was a mask you can find at the dollar store. In other words, it was a lot of fun. Moving on, I got to play a few games at Sega's booth as well, the biggest being Valkyria Chronicles 4. This is my first time playing the series, and I was really hooked. It's a strategic RPG, but unlike Fire Emblem, you can move your character freely on the map within a set number of footsteps. It basically goes from a normal grid system to a third-person shooter, except you can take your time moving and shooting. Placement is still key, however, as enemy units can surprise you and take you out rather quickly. That didn't happen to me, but I can see that happening farther in the game. I also played it on the Switch, and it seemed to work wonderfully. I was surprised how well it worked. No issues in handheld mode as far as I could see. The demo was a little short, but they did have a lot of people to go through. In the end, it was enough to get me interested in buying it. Also, they gave out these cute hats, so now I'm indebted to buy it. Who's the good boy? Who's the good boy? Who's the good boy? Please don't patronize me. I'm a professional. While waiting in that line, Sega had some other games to play. Crazy, over-the-top beat-em-up that was fun to play, despite it being way simple. More so than a Muso game, in fact. But it makes sense since it's based off the anime Fist of the North Star. Playing through the main campaign was all well and good, but the minigames are what stole the show, or at least stole the line. In one, you play as a bartender, mixing and stirring the best drinks this side of the Milky Way. You're already drunk, is my personal favorite. The other minigame is a baseball game where you take a steel beam and you whack incoming bikers. Holy Hannah Montana, this took me by surprise. I was busting up laughing playing this one. Everyone else in line was really getting into it too. In fact, I ended up getting a home run at one point. Omae wa mou home run. The people in line went crazy, and the staffer said that was the first time that happened at E3. A new record! This is the kind of game I want to play with others around just to see their reaction. But I don't think this is the kind of game I play by myself. How uncivilized. Let's go play something a little more highbrow. Maybe that Dragon Elf waifu game. Yes, please. Shining Resonance Refrain is a remake of a PS3 game that came out in 2014, but only in Japan. Where have I heard that story before? Now it's finally heading to the West for PS4 and the Switch. I was kind of iffy on the game when I first saw the trailer, but I actually had fun playing it. So I feel like that's the theme of the E3. The combat reminded me of a mix between Tails and Xenoblade. Probably more on the Tails side, to be honest. And from what I played, I could see myself getting into the system and trying out new combos and players. It was just a blast. The story, however, is alright, and that's usually a big selling point for me. It really suffers from dialogue cutscenes where nothing interesting happens, it's just two characters talking. Their mouth just moves. A lot of JRPGs use it to cut development costs, but it can be kind of boring at times. However, the gameplay is intriguing enough for me to buy it. Definitely a should try for JRPG fans. Lastly, in the Sega booth, I played Team Sonic Racing. I've heard some say it didn't look that polished, but I thought it looked great. It ran well, the track was well designed, and I genuinely had fun. The concept of working as a team to win a race is a novel concept that could work well. However, I could see the AI presenting a problem if they don't go with the player's plans, but in my limited experience, it wasn't that big of an issue. I ended up winning anyway. Of course, Sonic kind of beat me out for first place at the very end, but my team was competent enough that it didn't really matter. It was like we were second, third, and fourth, so it's like, no matter what you do, Sonic, we win, so, okay. But at least Crush 40's back, baby! Hey! Next, I went over to Capcom to play Mega Man 11. What can I say? It feels great. Mega Man fans should be extremely excited for this title. It captures the essence of what makes the series great, while also adding in new game mechanics. Slowing down time and powering up your shots are nice additions, although some might find it a little too easy. But don't worry, there are options for veterans and newcomers and those in between. For me, who has never finished a Mega Man game, I'll probably play through the game casually. But veterans want it a little harder, and that's what you get. You don't even have to use the slowing down time or powering up your shots. I imagine there's some players at the demo, from what I could see, they were just blazing through the level without any issues. Maybe they were playing in the new beginner mode, but they looked like they were veterans. For me, I did like casual, not the lowest, but the next step up. And even I had a little bit of difficulty. It looks great, feels great, a definite pickup for platforming fans. And then I went over to Square Enix and played Dragon Quest XI. What, you were expecting Kingdom Hearts? Heh. There's no way I was waiting in that line. Dragon Quest looks gorgeous. It feels so fluid. It's a masterpiece for my eyeballs. The only complaint I have is with the Dragon Quest battle system. It feels very old. Like, I know they had the same system for a long time, but even when I played 8 on the 3DS, I assumed they would update the menus and the battle system from, when it was released on the PS2. I just wish they would improve upon it, make it look nicer, just kind of cooler to look at. However, the gameplay is exceptional, and I'm really liking the cast so far. Great voice acting, and the story looks compelling. I can't wait. When is it coming to Switch? I mean, I know we don't even have it for Switch in Japan yet, but come on! You promised this when it was the NX, when the Switch was the NX, and we still don't have anything. Don't fail me now, Square Enix. Don't fail me now. The last booth I visited was Bandai Namco. The smash of Shonen Jump? Yeah, I guess. But the demo wasn't the best experience. It needs a lot more work. I played as Luffy, Zoro, and Goku. I think a pretty cool combo if I do say so myself, and they felt alright. But fighting wasn't as smooth as other Bandai Namco games. And that's the worrisome part. Obviously it's not coming out till next year, but there's just a lot of kind of bugs and polish that this game needs. It looks good. Like it's running on a very good engine. It's just not everything is in place yet. And while I always like to have a demo for a game, especially a game like this, it was a little disappointing when it just wasn't that great. And it was very, very short for a fighting game. Like 1 round and that was it. Hopefully they polish it up, get more characters in there. I really hope they have a diverse cast of all sorts of characters, because that concept is fascinating. I'm really excited for who they bring in the future. It's another fighting game, but since this one is coming to the Switch, and because I love My Hero Academia, I had to try it out. It's any fanboy or fangirl's dream of a My Hero Academia fighting game. Truly, the characters fight and behave exactly like the anime, all the way down to Midoriya's broken arm. Loved it! It's a fairly typical fighting game, but you get this with the fan service, man. Come on. It's no secret. We know who Best Girl is. Come on. So that's all the games I played. I may have missed something, but it obviously wasn't that impactful if I didn't mention it. So, there you go. But the last thing I want to talk about is the E3 experience. E3 is amazing. I don't get very many opportunities to geek out with loads of people about video games. So when I went to E3 and saw fans playing Switch together, laughing together, sharing in each other's excitement, I was kind of moved in a strange way. These are my people! But don't you go for the games and the reveals? Absolutely. But that's just part of it. The other part of it is being around others and meeting new people who are just as excited about video games as you. Of course, that isn't for everyone, but I think gamers should experience it at least once. It's like Disneyland for gamers. Except at the end of the lines are game demos and free stuff you'll probably never use again. Except it was a Bulbasaur. Oh man, I use that all the time. Sure, it was a lackluster E3 in terms of reveals. No doubt about that. But the demos I played helped me find games I don't think I would have played otherwise. Plus, with lines as long as 3 hours, 4 hours for Kingdom Hearts 3, having the Switch on hand changed everything. Probably my favorite moment in E3 is getting this I brought my Switch badge. This was the second day of E3 that I got it. And the first day and most of the second day I was like freaking out. I was like, where are these badges? I can't find them. I've been waiting in line for hours. Nothing. I thought they were just going to hand them out. But apparently that's not the case. Maybe they were worried that people would grab more than one. I don't know. So while I was walking around the convention, thinking about, what am I going to play next? If I saw the badge on someone, I'd be like, where did you get that? Some lady just gave it to me. It's like some guy just came around and gave it to me, man. I was really depressed. I was like, I've been waiting so long. I'm such a good boy. I've been playing Sushi Striker. And I just want a Switch badge. And I've been waiting in line forever. Maybe I was complaining a little too much. But, I was really anxious to get one. I didn't want to miss out on it. So I was waiting for Pokemon Let's Go, and I was in line and talking to these guys who had the badge. And I was serious with him. It's like, look, I know something fishy is going on here. Everyone is out to not give me that badge. Where did you get that badge, young man? Yo, man, I just was waiting in line, man. It didn't even matter, man. I had the Switch, and she gave me the badge, man. It's like, who is this woman? And so some guy comes over. I guess he must have overheard my conversation, which gets me thinking maybe I need to be a little quieter. I don't know. I don't really think I'm that loud of a person, but I guess these videos say otherwise. Anywho, he comes over and he's like, "Is there seem to be a problem over here?" "Oh, no, officer, there's no problem." Okay, I'm just kidding. He wasn't a cop or anything. Didn't even ask if there was a problem. He just apparently is like, "What's going on?" And I was just telling him, "Oh, no, I'm just looking for the badge." And actually, the guy I was talking to was really trying to help. He's like, "Yeah, he's trying to get one of those Switch badges. Do you know where to get him?" He's like, I don't know. They're just handing them out randomly, man." And then, as we were talking, I just see this hand come through the guy with the badge and the official guy, and she just reaches out and just puts the Switch badge in my hand and says, "There you go." And I was like, "Oh, you are an angel." And she just kind of looked at me. She's just like, "Yeah, I know what I've done." That was the best moment. And I put that badge on my lanyard. It's still there, and I love it. Yeah, I'm a sucker for free stuff. In short, I'd highly recommend you go at least once in your life. If you're not very good at talking with people, try to bring a friend. If you don't have anybody to go with, I can be your friend. I just have one request. Please shower daily. Please. Thank you so much for watching. Did you go to E3? How was your experience? Let me know in the comments below. We'll have a Mega E3 podcast episode available soon, so be sure to look forward to that. Of course, don't forget to subscribe for more Nintendo goodness, as we will have Smash videos upon Fire Emblem videos upon other sorts of Nintendo things in the next few weeks or so. Also, just want to clarify, this is kind of a loosey-goosey kind of a video. A lot of the script isn't really written down very well. I wanted to get my thoughts out in a quick and timely manner, so I thought this would be the best way to just kind of pinpoint my thoughts. And hopefully it was entertaining. Hopefully you learned something. And if you never want me to do that again, please let me know. Please. But of course, from here on out, the most, if not every video will be scripted. It's just when big things like this happen, and it's mostly my experience. I just kind of want it to be as genuine as possible and not scripted, you know what I mean? But don't worry, we'll go back to normal videos shortly.
Goodbye, you good people.